Welcome to Far Cry 5, a game set in America, a country known for its gun culture. But what if we ignore all that and try completing it with only the shovel launcher? Can the game be beaten this way? I will also allow myself to throw shovels since it kinda fits thematically. So let's see, can this challenge be completed or will Hope County bury me? We'll begin our story as a junior deputy on a mission to arrest this crazy cult leader known as the Father. As we're escorting him out, one of his followers jumps into the helicopter blades, causing us to crash. And this is where our challenge begins. First thing I do is search for a shovel, but there wasn't one, so I have to sneak my way through. Once I regroup with the marshal, a sudden ambush happens and I'm forced to rely solely on him. He is equipped with a pistol and absolutely zero will to live. After a few dozen revives, he finally clears the last of them and decides it's time to go for a drive. Things were going great until they whip out the machine guns. And you know it got sketchy when I had to bust out this move. We crash again and get rescued by a man named Dutch. I finalize my character, who by the way totally doesn't accidentally turn off his body cam, and right at the exit there it was, a shovel. Man, it's beautiful. But my joy doesn't last long as the game plays a cutscene and just like that it's gone.
Be willing to pick up a gun and return the favor.
Oh, never mind, there's another one. Soon after, I came across a fella in need. I free him and the game insists I recruit him, so I do, and instantly dismiss him, which also instantly deletes him from existence. I finish the tutorial island and Dutch explains that to get to the Father, I'll first have to deal with the rest of the family. He also tells our friends are still alive but captured, each handed over to one of the family members. We then receive an invitation to Jhon's alpha male camp. So I head into his region to check it out. Since we're free to explore, it's time to get our hands on the shovel launcher. I find a trader selling one for 7,000. So the thing that made the most sense was to go hunting right down the hill. During the hunt, I make two discoveries. First and most important one, there are rats in this game, and for some reason this one wouldn't stop spinning. Second, if we're out of shovels, we can restock them at any trader. While exploring the field, I spot a sign that turns into a prophecy because right after I get attacked by a cougar. A few moments later, I pass the same sign thinking surely it cannot get any worse, and it indeed got worse. After finishing the hunt and earning more than enough cash, I finally unlocked the shovel launcher. And this thing is no joke. I also spent a few perk points and then set my sights on Jhon's region. While asking the locals for information, one guy was being torn apart by a cougar. I saved him only for a turkey to attack him. The man told me about a pumpkin farm nearby where the cult was abusing this poor dog. I rescued Scooby, and while he was extremely cute, he is not a shovel, so I couldn't take him with me. Heading west, I came across an outpost. These things are like fortresses, snipers, trolls, and if you get spotted, they call in reinforcements. So the obvious move for me was to release the bear that we're keeping prisoner. It pretty much tore through everything in its path, and the only sketchy part was when it ran out of targets, it went for me. With the outpost secured, the locals asked me to eliminate some crackhead bears. I used the nearby people as meat shields, and when the first one got overwhelmed, it self-destructed. The second also chose the self-destructing path, and the third one was in a cave, probably working on a bomb. So I Navy sealed his ass and saved the area. Traveling the open road made me realize just how defenseless I was. I can't shoot the shovel launcher while driving. Still, sometimes things just work out. Okay, I guess. I liberated another outpost, and this time the locals asked me to open containers holding prisoners. Unfortunately for them, I can't damage locks. Rest in peace, prisoners. Next, I headed to Fall's End, a small village currently overrun. As I freed the captives and took out the cultists, a plane showed up. I figured the pastor could have handled it since he picked up an RPG, but the guy was half blind and missed every shot. With nothing to lose, I aimed the shovel launcher at the plane, and to my surprise, it actually brought it down. I kept clearing outposts across the region, and the one by the farm had some cows that escaped, and I was asked to bring them back. Hey, yo, chill. Now, the big fella didn't like me interrupting and tried to kill me. Of course, that didn't end well for him, and he died, probably with an erection. Jhon didn't appreciate that and told me cog blocking was against the bro code, so he sent me for re-education at the alpha male camp. On the way there, my ride got rudely interrupted by the pastor, who suggested we free some prisoners. Talk about cog blocking, huh? We fought our way through, and at the end, it was just me and some guy. We waited for the chopper, and when it arrived, I grabbed him and we flew off. When we landed, I saw this big, ugly yes sign and had a very reasonable reaction. Once it no longer clearly said yes, I moved on to liberate more outposts. On my way there, I saw another sign that said, "Say, are they stupid?" Oh, never mind. Some folks asked me to fix the pumpkin irrigation system, and apparently that gave me resistance points. I get freeing prisoners or gathering supplies, but fixing irrigation? Are they trying to build an iron golem farm? With me doing well for myself, I've unlocked the close combat gear bag, and it increased my shovel capacity from 3 to 9. And then I also unlocked the heavy ammo bag, which increased my shovel round capacity from 4 to 8, which was huge. And then I ran into a guy who convinced me to help him with just this one line.
You and me are gonna fuck!
Unfortunately, he forgot to mention it. It was animal related, but even then, he pretty much torched all of them. When that was done, he had another request, but got rudely interrupted.
Globalist empire down and give you the temperament.
Twice.
Those demons are always talking about a collapse.
Was he trying to warn us about the government controlling us? I guess we'll never know. This time we arrive at the alpha male camp without any interruptions. Jhon gave a very inspiring speech about the power of yes and asked who wants to go first. And judging by how excited Hudson looked, I knew it had to be me. Jhon took her off for some privacy, and me being left unsupervised, I threw myself down a flight of stairs and freed myself in process. With all my weapons confiscated and no shovel inside, I once again had to rely on sneaking. After crawling my way through, I came face to face with Jhon, and he told me I was alpha as f and that there was nothing more he can teach me, and then sent me off on my way. Once I was out, I kept working on the region and found a nice trick for destroying silos. Throwing stuff at them doesn't work, but it sparks a little flame, park a vehicle nearby, it catches fire, and both explode. After blowing up most of them, I got sidetracked recovering a truck. The game suggests ramming through roadblocks, but going around them works just fine. As for the drivers chasing us, yeah. Eventually, Jhon had enough of my shenanigans and told me to meet him at the church in Fall's End. When I arrived, I was greeted with a gun stuck to the face, followed by a cutscene showing a power struggle between our two groups. Ours struggling a lot. Jhon then demanded I renounce my sins and admit to my transgressions. But admitting is for guilty people, and I have done nothing wrong. Suddenly, a gun fell out. I grabbed it, but missed Jhon by an inch. He escaped and we gave chase. The woman driving us forgot how to drive, so I gave her a light tap on the head to remind her now is not the time for stereotypes. At the airstrip, we see Jhon taking off in a plane. If he wants an air battle, he's gonna get one, but we're doing it my way. And my way is crashing straight into his plane. Once on the ground, I slid a shovel between his ribs and took his bunker key. Now I go save Hudson, and on my way to her, nothing much happened. But next came the section with a few problems, mainly the consoles. I can't damage them. So I left one guy alive, stood next to the consoles, and made him shoot them out. Next was a very similar section, this time with containers to destroy. The only difference was I popped a damage resistance potion so that the blast wouldn't kill me. At the end, when I initiated a silo hatch opening, the game told me to survive. But I don't think that message was meant for me because I wasn't the one struggling to survive. And with that, Jhon's region was complete. The next region I headed to was Faith's. On my way there, the game once again reminded me just how dynamic it can be.
Outsider, you're more than a little alright. Time for us.
I drove straight to Hope County Jail, which was under assault. I helped out clear out the cultists, and inside we found the sheriff, who was very happy to see us. Before we could settle, a second wave hit. This one was tougher since they rolled in trucks with speakers that attracted crazy crackheads. The only way to destroy them was to park all the trucks near a red barrel and make a cultist shoot it. Once the speakers were gone, I cleaned up the rest of them and went to see the sheriff. We chatted for a bit, I picked up a few missions, and set off to complete my obligation to the region by clearing all the outposts. Along the way, I ran into a guy with a flamethrower.
We don't even have to wear pants or nothing.
Why are the flamethrower guys in this game so freaky? Still, it was fun. I then made my way to an abandoned ship, quietly took out all the enemies, and because I did it stealthily, I was able to get a surprise drop on their leader. I also managed to pull the marshal out of the bliss. Now, he didn't take it well at first, but eventually calmed down. And then the region started feeling really limiting. Always something that would force me to quit because I couldn't progress. There was always some obstacle, a helicopter, a water pump, a wooden construction, the need to burn something, shotgun only missions, another helicopter. I got so desperate for resistance points that I bought a helicopter and started repeatedly crashing it into the father statue. What made it take forever was the fact that I couldn't fast travel. Doing so would reset the damage on the statue, which meant every time I had to walk back on foot to get another chopper. Eventually the statue was completely gone and I climbed on top of it and destroyed Father's Book of Rhymes. And then I did the only thing available to me, the shrines. Honestly, at first I thought they're going to be impossible to destroy. But it turns out standing close on the left side and launching a shovel damages it. And the second one blows it up completely. The shovel launcher blows it up in one. The shrines also usually had a VIP cultist and a hostage nearby, so that was extra points. Plus, it counted as an actual mission. Destroying the last one barely pushed me over the mark. Now, Faith didn't like that, so in retaliation, she made the marshal open the jail gates and then off himself. When we clear the jail, it becomes apparent everyone is dead and the sheriff has been taken. Next comes the fight with Faith, which is laughably easy, even with only the shovel launcher. I'm then transported into her bunker, and this part is not easy, mainly because the sheer number of enemies. So I had to go a non-lethal way, pumping myself full of speedy and damage resistance potions to quickly close the valves. After that, I was free to die and respawn with no enemies left. In the next room, there are these pumps to destroy, but they had explosives nearby and plenty of enemies. So as sketchy as Faith's region got there for a second, it is complete. Now, the only one left was Jacob. Arriving in his region, I did my daily outpost clear and found a doctor studying wolves called judges. And I completely agreed, they need to be studied. This one was running laps around the camp aimlessly, and he was so fast it was nearly impossible to hit him from a distance. Once the mud was put down, we went to the camp where they were making them so that the doctor could further study one. I let my intrusive thoughts win and sniped from midair. As we caught a live one, Jacob caught wind of my presence and then set his men to kidnap me. He made me run through a time chamber, and after I finished it, I was found by Eli, a leader of the White-tailed Resistance. I cleared another outpost and for some reason decided to complete a shooting range. That was never going to happen and it was a total time waste. After that, I went to destroy some radio jammers. The first two were fine, but the third one was a truck. There was a guy with an RPG nearby, but he was a total moron and really struggled to hit me. This took way longer than I would like to admit, but eventually this semi-illiterate idiot actually hit me and the truck that was right next to me. Then there were these prisoners Eli asked me to save, and right at the end, a helicopter showed up. I was hoping the two people I just rescued would repay the favor and shoot it down, but no matter how many times they tried, the chopper would one-shot them. So I went stealth. And guess what? The chopper didn't appear. I was so surprised by how many different approaches this game has. And you know what else surprised me? The time chamber that followed. The game gives me 50 seconds to complete this, and it got really tight at the end. And while I was happy in the moment, I realized there is still one more to go, with even less time. Train, hunt, kill, sacrifice. I think the odd one out is train. I blew up a building, then I blew up some beacons, which are actually destroyable. After a bloated fetch quest collecting baseball cards, it was time to face the last time trial chamber. And before we continue, let me explain. Each room starts with little time, but as I keep failing, the game adds a bit more each failed attempt. Now they do cap at some point though, and I'm going to say it straight, it is impossible to complete on 40. However, in this room lies the key to having a chance. The gun on the table. And no, I will not be using it as a weapon. I will simply be using it to cancel an animation. You see, in this game you can do a charged attack, and during the charge you move slightly faster than the sprint speed. So in theory, if I could just spam that, I would be able to complete it since it really came down to only a few extra seconds. But in practice, things are a bit different because this level is in a straight line. And even then, the stars need to align and the two guys near the doorway have to stand still. And most of the time, they didn't. So everything comes down to a bit of skill and a lot of luck. But there was hope. I basically touched the guy at the end. And on probably my 100th attempt, it finally happened. Now, it did get weird since I ran out of time and the screen darkened, but you can clearly hear me hitting him.
You're better than...
And then the realization hit. The guy at the end, it was Ally. Getting tricked like that felt bad. Putting a good man down, even worse. So now Jacob made it personal. When I snapped out of whatever mind-possessed state I was by destroying all the beacons, I went for Jacob. Climbing the mountain, I was definitely met with some resistance, and Jacob was a tough bastard. He didn't die from a single launcher shot. But tough as he was, he's now dead. I took his bunker key and headed to save Pratt. Now, this bunker was the easiest out of the three. Just get in, get Pratt, and get out. Now, Pratt did get really upset when I told him I was sent into an alpha male camp instead of a torture camp like him. But he calmed down and we got out. And with that, Jacob's region was complete. Now Father finally decided it was time to face me, telling me to meet him at the church where it all began. He somehow captured all my friends again, undoing all the progress I made in just a few minutes. Then he gave me the option to walk away, but let's be honest, walking away like that felt like giving up. And after all, I completed the alpha male camp with flying colors. And so we fought. Was this battle unique? Yeah. Was it hard? Not really. There were even people I never met, like, who the f is this guy? And where's Scooby? And while I wasn't the one landing the final blow, it was the people who helped me along the way. Maybe that's the takeaway here. With Father defeated, the challenge was complete. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you soon.